Welcome to the Stand Like Men podcast. I'm Logan Ingram.
And I'm Daniel Schallenberg.
And we are gathered here today to learn what it means to be a biblically masculine man. At least that's our goal. And we're hoping to have that same discussion with you guys. Just figure out what we're learning about, try and apply it to our lives, and hopefully give some action plans on how to maybe do that. But we're really glad you're here. And
yeah,
I can't remember if you pick it up or because we've quit and then not. And
yeah, we're all over the place. That's all right. If you're enjoying the show, or regardless, I mean, leave us a review. And then, yeah,
even if you're not, constructive criticism, though, please, not just criticism.
Yeah,
because that doesn't help anybody.
You guys suck. Well, we know, but something that like, hey, if you did this, that would be better. That'd be nice. Anyway, yeah, like and subscribe and leave a comment and tell your friends and family and the people in your life that need to be better men. Maybe. How do you approach a guy that you feel like you got a buddy for example, and he is not a good dude, and you're like, okay, well, he's not a criminal necessarily, but like he's really not living up to his potential or whatever, or like not the man that God wants him to be, probably. Yeah. How do you tell him, hey, you should listen to this podcast?
I always do it in an encouraging way. And in that I say, hey, this really affected me in this way.
Okay.
I think you should listen to it. Let me know your thoughts.
Yeah. Because
instead of saying, hey, you need to listen to this, this is for you.
Yeah.
You say, this is how it applied to me. And then that automatically, to me, it's like, oh, he wants me to see how it applied to him. Mm-hmm. Like if I can recognize the characteristics he's talking about in him and that he's going to work on.
Yeah. And
then you inadvertently listen to it and get to hear the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew a guy that there was the Men We Need book. I'm like, man, this guy needs to read this because he is not a good dude.
Yeah.
Like his family is afraid of him. And I'm like, but I didn't want to say, hey man, you suck. Read this book.
I always try to lead it with this. This is how this impacted me. And I thought it would be, I would love for you to read it too.
It's probably a better way.
Yeah.
It's not the fun way.
Brings the defenses down, I believe.
Kind of makes me, in those situations, I'm like, I just want to smack him.
Yeah.
But that's not really.
I know people like that.
That would have been a really good intro for next week's of Not Quarrelsome.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you send it to him in the wrong way, it could become violent, right?
Could become violent.
Yeah.
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 But I think there is a difference between violence and quarrelsome. Anyway, let's get back let's get back on track. I'm sorry. I took us in a way weird direction.
That's all right.
What are we talking about today?
So yeah, we are talking about 1 Timothy chapter 3 again.
1 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 7. Here is a trustworthy saying: whoever aspires to be an overseer desires a noble task. Now the overseer is to be above reproach, faithful to his wife, temperate, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not given to drunkenness, not violent but gentle, not quarrelsome, not a lover of money. He must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him, and he must do so in a manner worthy of full respect. If anyone does not know how to manage his own family, how can he take care of God's church? He must not be a recent convert, or he may become conceited and fall under the same judgment as the devil. He must also have a good reputation with outsiders, so that he will not fall into disgrace and into the devil's trap.
Yeah, so last week we talked about not given to drunkenness, and now in verse 3, 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 3, not violent but gentle. What does that mean to you? Does that mean that you just pussyfoot around everything and you're just a soft human being and you're gentle, like a warm, fluffy pillow? You don't hurt anybody, even if you get in a fight. It's like, because if you're into pillow fights or were when a kid, a little fluffy, tiny, lightweight pillow doesn't do any damage, man.
No.
And so, are you? This is going a weird direction, but do you believe that's what it means? Because we've talked about the difference between weak and meek before.
Yeah.
And so, do you think that means you need to be a weak person to be gentle
No.
or
Oh.
just to be like completely full of rage that you're violent?
Yeah. No, I think we talked about this before, but there's a difference between gentle and weak. There's a difference between like being able to do something and choosing not to, and not being able to do something.
Yes.
Jordan Peterson, I think, talks about that a lot.
Dangerous but good.
Yeah. With the be gentle, it doesn't necessarily mean like, it doesn't mean like weak.
It doesn't mean to be weak or passive.
No, it just means like you are gentle, because there's actually two characteristics in this one characteristic that Paul mentions. It's not violent, but gentle.
Yeah.
And so that kind of leads me to believe that there's is it possible to be violent and not gentle?
And not gentle?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Expand on that.
To being violent and not gentle?
No, I'm sorry. To not be violent, but still not be gentle.
Yes. I was about
Okay.
to say, we are absolutely.
Listen, my words are weird.
No, yes, I totally believe that. So, me particularly, but you as well, we are capable of violence, right?
Mhm.
Like I do a lot of stuff with weapons, and like me and a buddy went and shot guns the other day. We shot pistols and we shot long range out to 800 yards. So we are definitely capable of delivering a lethal bullet to someone if we need to.
Mhm.
Do I ever do that? No. Do I go out with my long gun and sight down on people in Cersei? No, I don't do that.
It's a little
I'm
too long of a
capable.
hesitation.
I'm capable if it comes to that. And if
Yeah.
I felt that there was an absolute need because we were about to lose someone else's life or for the greater good, right? Yeah, we're capable of violence. We're strong. We're large bodied. We are able to be violent. We choose not to be. It is power with, holy crap, hesitation, not restraint. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. It's power with restraint. And
Yeah.
we've talked about that before, along with like Jesus had all the power in the world,
Mhm.
but he was gentle. You know, he could have wiped out the entire face of the earth, but he did not.
Yeah.
We're the same. We're capable of these things, but we choose to lead with gentleness. And that goes back to mercy, loving mercy, right?
Mhm.
Is you're not, I can't give you mercy if I never could inflict harm on you to begin with, or distribute justice, right? And I don't really like it, a baby. Like if you're holding a baby in your arms, you don't look at them and be like, oh, he's so gentle.
Yeah.
No, he's like, I mean, he's incapable of giving harm. But you see on the news, like maybe a gorilla or something, a kid falls in a gorilla cage
Mhm.
at the zoo or an enclosure, and then they're gentle with them. They have all the power in the world,
Yeah.
and they choose to be gentle and caring and not use violence.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And there's something inherently good about that. Jordan Peterson says it, you know, holy crap. I keep blanking.
You mentioned gorillas, and my brain just started replaying all the gorilla videos I've seen. And they're great. They're awesome. But my brain kind of,
They're capable of incredible violence. If
Oh,
you've
yeah.
ever seen a gorilla fight,
yeah.
it's unbelievable to watch.
Well, you've seen, I mean, I think this was before AI.
You ever seen Kong and Godzilla go at it?
No.
You've never seen any
I
of those
didn't, I
movies?
didn't watch any of them.
Have you not?
No.
They're really good.
I believe you,
Yeah.
but it's just not one that
I had never watched any until last year.
Okay.
And then I watched like all of them because they're really good.
I did sing King Kong or Kong. What was the Michael Bay one way back when? I think
I can't even remember
Jack
which
Black
one.
was in it. I remember there were giant bugs.
Yeah.
It made me crawl in the theater. Like
Yeah.
it, like I was squirming in my seat. Anyway, no, I was thinking of like the people at the zoo, and they'll go up to the glass, and they'll challenge the gorilla by beating their chest and like
Yeah.
posting up on it. And the gorilla says, "Nah, it's enough of that." And he slams the glass, and it shattered. Like, doesn't shatter, but like spider webs.
Spider webs, yeah.
And it was like, "Oh no!" He's like, "Yeah, let's not.
Let's not instigate that.
No, let's not start something that we're not going to be able to finish."
Man, I got a bunch of stuff, like a bubble in my throat that won't go away.
That's awful. So how did you did say that it's possible to not be violent and still not be gentle, right? How did you talk about that?
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible to not be violent and still not be gentle with someone?
Yeah, being
so?
passive aggressive.
Oh,
And being manipulative.
There
Like
it
you're
is.
not using physical violence.
Yeah.
But you're harming people
I like
at the same
that.
time.
And I hadn't even considered passive aggressive, but like I like it.
I mean, that's exactly what that is. You're not
Mhm.
you're not harming anybody physically, but
No.
buddy, you can lay down some mental wounds.
Yeah, I've been telling Emmett, like, someone who is passive aggressive is a coward.
I believe that.
Is a coward's way of being aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to be aggressive, but they're hedging their bets that if you ever come back and say, no, what are you talking about? And like turn it back on them, they're like, no, that's not what I said. What
Yeah,
I
it's
said was
manipulative.
this. It's manipulative.
Yeah.
It's very cowardly.
It's being aggressive without the consequences.
Without
kind of
owning it, without being responsible
without
for
owning
it.
up to the consequences. Yeah. And
Without
owning
being
owning
responsible.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that, being responsible for it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you just slough it off. You say, oh, that was them. Or that's not what I meant. No, that's not what I meant. Have you seen all the new commercials, the progressive commercials? They're
No.
passive progressive.
No.
They're kind of funny.
Has it still got that one flow?
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh, she
yeah.
drives me up the wall.
Yeah, she's not
Can't stand her.
not the main person.
I don't know why everybody loves her.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
it was I remember when she like the very first commercial ever with her, and she's done really well for herself.
Yeah. Who knew?
I know, right?
But yeah,
She became super popular.
I don't know why.
But
I
yeah,
don't care.
passive progressive.
Passive progressive.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty funny.
So it's possible to not be violent and still not be gentle. Is it possible to be violent and also be gentle?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because look at soldiers, right?
Okay.
I mean, they have to be
Yeah.
on like a daily basis, especially right now
Yeah.
with what's going on in the Middle East. Like they're violent, but only up to a point where they need to be.
Okay.
That's kind of how it's.
There's still some restraint there.
There's still restraint there,
Yeah.
yes, because they could just go off and just set the world on fire, right? Just a
Yeah.
scorched earth deal, literally, just set off nukes everywhere they go and
Mm-hmm.
all that. But they're not. That's not that's not what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And so you see that. I mean, you see that MMA fighters, right?
Mhm.
I mean, they could do that. Like I know some of those guys here in town, they're capable of great violence, and then go do it on the weekend.
Mhm.
But they're great fathers and husbands, and they're gentle at home. What about the opposite of violent but not gentle? Can you expand on that?
I kind of see that a violent but not gentle person. I see that as kind of just the stereotypical alpha male,
Yeah, the bully.
where they're not necessarily, and they may or may not be physically violent, but they are, at least with their words, and like their words are aggressive. Everything they're picking a fight with people. They're emotionally and verbally abusive. It's their whole body, and like not body, their whole nature is to dominate someone. Their
Yeah.
whole intent is to dominate people.
Yeah.
And you can do that physically. And you can do that like physically. But it's more than just that. Like like dominating somebody, the threat of violence.
The threat of violence is very real.
Yeah.
And if you're using it to coerce people,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like, because there's a threat of violence. Like we could do that,
Mhm.
but we're not going to. We're not threatening people. Hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna break your arm.
Yeah.
Like, so the threat of violence is still being violent, in my opinion.
I agree.
If you're trying to coerce people to do stuff and trying to dominate and control people.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for this. And maybe we should do a whole podcast on it one day. But so that I've been through plenty of things in my life.
Mhm.
There are a lot of emotional and mental scars that I almost wish someone had just broke my arm,
Yeah.
because I can heal from that.
Mhm.
You know, set it in a cast, go about your day.
Yeah.
Whereas the emotional and mental scars, I'm 40 years old and they're not gone.
Mhm.
So there's a lot to be said for that person who's not physically violent, but they either threaten violence or they emotionally damage people.
Mhm.
Because you're not a gentle person by doing that.
No.
And you're not a good person. And we've talked about that plenty.
Yeah. So even if you're not like physically violent towards somebody, that doesn't mean you're gentle
Right. Or good.
or good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've dissected that fairly well. There's a lot to unpack, though.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, we could probably spend more time on each of those aspects and like mull it over. But I don't know if it's.
Have we covered them though before?
We kind of covered them.
Yeah.
Nothing too like direct.
I mean, even in past
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, I mean we've covered aspects of them and the nature of them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we've ever actually been like as directly discussing them.
Okay.
Like what we were just doing, or directly unpacking them like we were kind of doing.
Okay. Yeah, probably not. Not individually.
Yeah. I'm not saying that we need
Specifically.
to have like specific episodes about each of these.
No, I didn't think so.
But like it's one of those like we could spend a lot of time discussing it and different variables. What am I trying to say? Like anecdotes, maybe.
Yeah, anecdotes.
Stories and examples of how men could be doing that. But I don't know if it's necessarily pertinent or relevant. It's relevant, but it's not. I mean, the tens of listeners that we have can probably figure that out on their own. They probably have an idea already.
Yeah, because a lot of this just goes to self-control, right?
Mhm.
Which we have unpacked a lot.
Yeah.
Because you're capable of violence, but you choose to be gentle.
Yeah.
You choose to pick mercy instead of justice and violence.
I've got. I went to Bible Hub and I pulled a couple screenshots from their explanation of what this means. Someone who is gentle, who is not violent, protects the flock. It's a shepherding image that underlies pastoral leadership. A striker's hands meant to guide and heal would instead wound the sheep. So like we've talked at length that we as men are leaders. You could be a leader of a congregation, you could be a leader of a company, but at the very least you're a leader of the family. At the very least, men are leaders of the family. And if you're going to be violent with your family, like specifically, this is talking about like striking your family, or striking people, hitting people, or physical violence. That's the golly. You're expected to guide and lead your family, but if you're violent rather than gentle, then you're actually wounding them instead of healing them and guiding them. And I thought that was important to mention. It just popped in my head. Is it corporal punishment? Spanking and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
We should probably touch on that in a minute.
Well, is it capital or corporal?
Capital is death.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know
Capital is death. Corporal. Should we touch on that real quick?
Let's do it.
All right. Spanking or no spanking?
I am all for spanking.
Yeah.
I am, when it's needed.
Yeah.
Not just 'cause.
Yeah.
Because I have seen plenty of kids in my life that needed a beating like you wouldn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've seen other kids who absolutely would not respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to do it on a case-by-case basis, and you have got to be controlled with it.
Yeah.
You can't just start wailing on a kid. First of all, you got to explain why.
Yeah.
You know, what is it for? You don't just walk into a kid's room after a long day and you got home from work, your wife told you some bad news, you walk into your kid's room, rip your belt off and just start whooping them and then leave.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some discussion.
They have to know what they did.
Yeah, it's a consequence for an action or for a bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just something to give out flippantly.
It's discipline, which is a corrective action, not a punishment.
That is correct. It's discipline.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that a lot. I like what you just said.
Because a punishment is you're just inflicting harm, or you're inflicting pain. This is the consequence of your actions. This is punishment.
Yes.
Where discipline is, okay, you did this, which is wrong, and here's why it's wrong. Here's the expectation of the behavior that I have for you, and it's a corrective measure rather than you need to be punished. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yeah. No. I like that a lot. I like that description a lot.
But it absolutely depends on the kid, because some kids. My wife used to do.
Sorry.
My wife. Okay, so our son, we were full on board with, we're going to spank this kid. Like, this kid will be spanked. I spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, I will not allow Dr. Spock, who was the famous psychologist back in the 80s or 90s or whenever. I think he was the first one I heard that said, don't ever spank your child because it damages self-esteem. I'm like, psh, this guy's a quack. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I was spanked. I'm fine. And so I'm like, I'm going to spank this kid. And so up until 2 or 3 years old, like anytime he was in trouble, 3 or 4 maybe, anytime he was in trouble, we'd spank him. And it got to where, we're trying to correct him and trying to help him, guide him to make the decisions for himself. Because I'm not going to be around him forever to like make sure he does what it's supposed to do. So I'm trying to instill proper behavior like in his life. And so I'm like, if you do this, you will get a spanking. And like we could see him, like we would say that, and we could see him just kind of like in his brain, just start thinking, okay, if I do that, I get a spanking. It's worth it. And then he would do it. He viewed spanking as the cost that it took to do, like the payment, like the fee in order to do the thing that he wanted to do. And so we're like, okay, well, this isn't working. And we're like, okay, well, fine. Well, if you do this again, you have to go sit in timeout. He goes, well, okay. And so he did the thing. He was like, all right, let's go sit in timeout. And so he put him in timeout. He goes, hey, can you pause the show? I'm like, no. He goes, what? And like that was devastating to him. He did not want to miss like whatever we were doing. He's like, y'all pause the game. He's like, we're not pausing the game.
His FOMO was real.
And
it outweighed physical pain.
Yes. And so
physical discipline.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm going to have to be one of those like timeout parents. I don't want to be a timeout parent. That's
so inconvenient.
That's completely foreign to anything, because it doesn't just punish him; it punishes me too.
Absolutely.
Because half the time I'd sit with him in timeout and like talk to him and explain, okay, while we're in timeout, we're going to discuss what you did wrong and why you did it, and then we're going to figure this out. And so we turned into timeout parents, but it was actually working, whereas like spanking was just, in his mind, payment. He's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like, good. So, but my wife had another girl, or used to teach preschool, kindergarten age. And there was one girl who her parents said, we have tried everything. We've tried timeout. We've tried taking things away. We've tried like spanking. We've tried everything. And nothing works on her. Like no discipline works on her. And so the only thing that we have found that works is wall sits. And so whenever she would like misbehave or talk back or not do something that she's supposed to do, they'd have her do a wall sit.
That is amazing.
I'm like, anyway, Her legs were stout.
I bet they were.
Like they were thicker than mine at kindergarten. They weren't. Mine were bigger than hers. But like she was a stout kid. But it's like the purpose of spanking is
discipline.
Is to
like
discipline.
You said. Yeah.
To correct their behavior, and like it's a form of discomfort, yes, but it's not to make you the parent feel better. Because like there's times I'm like, man, that kid needs a beating, but in those moments I'm like, I want to beat that kid because I'm angry, and that would help me feel better, is getting some of that that anger out. Now that's unhealthy. And that's like a problem with like if a parent does that, that's like abuse.
That's abuse, absolutely. And I tried really hard to make sure I was not angry when I spanked my kids.
Yeah.
Because it would just, we're both on a different level. If
Yeah.
I'm angry and they're afraid and they're, there's a difference. But yeah, and we know a lot of foster parents and adoptive parents.
Oh yeah.
Some of those kids come out of bad situations,
Yeah.
and a spanking would be one of the worst things that could possibly happen to that kid. And
Glad you
so
brought
that has got to be part of the equation, right? We can't just blanket go, every kid needs a spanking. Like we don't just wake every kid up every day, spank them 10 times and go, I don't know what you did, but you do.
Yeah.
I used to joke about that. Say, I just spank my kid 10 times every day because even if I don't know what it's for, he does.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It's just a joke.
It's unhealthy.
It does not work. It's very unhealthy. And so, yes, there's a big difference.
Yeah. Because ultimately, that's what I was going to talk about. I was going to jump on the anger bit. Like I remember at least one time, like Emmett did something and I was just fired up. I said, I'm going to walk away and we will discuss this when I'm no longer angry, because I want to make sure that I am not going to, like, clearly what you did was wrong. But if I give you any sort of like, if I give you discipline, or any sort of punishment or consequence at all, it may not be fair because I am too like reactionary right now. And so like there've been times that I've done that because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't overly harsh, and I think it was for the better. I'm convinced it was for the better.
Yeah.
Because I was able to come back and say, okay, here's why I got so angry. It's because of X, Y, and Z. And when we have talked about this, and usually it was like a repeat offense type thing, or disrespecting his mother.
Yeah, it goes back to being intentional, right? Like
Always.
we can't just allow ourselves, because a reaction and a response deal we've talked about before. If you're just angry, you're going to jerk that kid up and whoop, and you might not even have a number in your head.
Yeah.
And you just go until your arm gets tired, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or until they're unconscious. I don't really know.
That both of those would be abuse.
Yes, they would. That is correct. Okay. And so, but a response would be, okay, come here. This is what you did. You need to understand that I'm going to spank you because of that. I'm not spanking you because you're a boy and you're 12 years old or 10 years old and because you got brown hair or you're whatever. It's because you did this thing. This is the consequence of that action, and I'm disciplining you to hopefully teach you right from wrong.
Yeah.
And then it's this is how many, this is how, and you hand it out.
At what point is spanking inappropriate?
40 less 1. I'm joking. You never go over 40, okay?
That was perfect.
Okay, so are you talking about age-wise?
I was thinking age
Okay.
or level
All
of
right.
maturity. I wasn't
So,
thinking.
for those listeners who know me and know my dad, my last spanking was at 15.
Okay.
All right. My sons 16. His last spanking was at 15, I think. Or maybe I really threatened him hard on it. I don't remember actually giving him one,
Yeah.
but he knew I was going to if he didn't chill whatever he was doing. I can't remember. It wasn't that long ago, but and I really didn't want to, but it was like at that exact moment, it's like nothing is working right now.
Yeah.
And you were and it was because he was out of control. It wasn't even like, oh, he did bad on his grades or he didn't clean his room. It was like he was almost acting violent in a way. And so I was going to have to correct it, but I didn't have to. So I don't really know. That's totally up to the parent again and the kid, because you've got to use your brain a little bit and know. And I don't look back on my last spanking at 15 and think my dad ruined my life and how horrible. Like, that was not an emotional scar that I was talking about earlier. That was just, I was being an idiot. Yeah. And I'm really glad that was the last one.
Yeah.
It wasn't. And so I don't know. Each case is totally individual and has to be dealt with. I mean, do you have a better answer or breakdown of how to analyze that situation?
I've got some thoughts. I don't know if any of them are right.
And
at some point it becomes demeaning.
That is an absolutely great topic, and I almost brought it up a minute ago.
Yeah.
Because there were times where I was threatened with it later, where it would have been demeaning and embarrassing.
Yeah, and at that
so
point,
the physical pain would not have even really mattered that much, because partly I was bigger.
Yeah,
and it didn't bother me. It's like it was harder for him to hurt me, for the belt to sting.
Yeah,
and so
because you never skipped squat day.
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
yes, I did. I hated squats. Golly, I don't anymore and haven't for a long time. But yes, at one point I did.
Sorry.
But yes, it becomes, and that becomes its own thing, right? Yeah. That's not being gentle.
Well, and it removes the likelihood that they're going to listen to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you transition from if it transitions from correction to embarrassment and demeanment.
Don't ask me.
When it shifts from a corrective action to a demeaning action, like they're going to start losing like respect for you because you're now a threat.
Right.
And because to them, they're not seeing it as, they don't see that you respect them. So, I mean, I was spanked growing up. If my parents tried to spank me now, like, it's not going to happen.
Oh yeah.
I don't care. Like, I respect my mom and dad. I love my mom and dad. I listen to their advice and their counsel. And if they ask me to do something, I'll probably do it. If they say, all right, you did something wrong, whatever it was, we're going to spank you now. I'm like, no, you can miss me with that. No, that's not happening.
No cap, fam.
No cap. I don't know. I think I used that phrase correctly.
You did.
Of course,
I've never used it in my life.
I've never used it either. I heard some guys on a different podcast say it. I'm like,
miss me with that.
That's nice. You can miss me with that.
Yeah. I like the phrase, actually. That one does not bother me.
Really?
I've just never seen an occasion to use it.
It feels weird to say.
It does feel weird.
Miss me.
I don't even know if it's actually proper grammar or not.
I don't know if it might be. I don't have enough street cred to say it.
That's true. Yeah, that's probably me too.
But anyway,
I'm not cool enough.
My parents are not going to spank me.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last spanking was, but that was it. Like, they're not going to do it again and if they were to try to spank me, like, that's it. Like, because I'm no longer at that stage in life. Like, I think about the time that it becomes demeaning is around the time or shortly after the time that the person is able to reason.
Yes.
I think that's kind of the answer is spanking becomes inappropriate and ineffective when the spanked is able to reason and rationalize and have a conversation.
Yes.
I think that's around the time it starts becoming
Yeah.
ineffective.
And that's actually a good point. Kind of goes back to my deal with my son when he's 15. As I mentioned, he was out of control. Like he was not able to reason. So
Yeah.
it's like, this is kind of your only option now
Yeah.
because talking and explaining isn't working. And so I like that analogy. I think that's a good way to possibly look at it and to test against.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like spanking is a,
Well, it's kind of an elementary and rudimentary disciplinary action.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like
nobody, I don't see. Well,
a toddler putting a spoon or fork in an electrical outlet, you smack the hand because you don't have time to say, "Little Johnny, you shouldn't do that because
and they
it's
won't
dangerous."
explain
Because
they won't understand anyway.
They don't understand.
No.
Now you can teach and train your kid not to do things. Like, for example, we couldn't put a lock on the cabinet underneath the sink in the kitchen. We did put a lock on there, but it was like little knobs, and so we had little the U-bolt basically clamp. Well, he walked up to me, he's like, "What's this?" And he grabbed it and he ripped it off. And so we're like, okay, so we can't just lock him out of things. We now have to teach him not to do things.
Right.
And so we taught him.
Yeah.
And you can do that, but there are still times in the moment you can't do that. Like, or there's an urgency there. And like, sticking a fork in an electrical outlet, well, slap the hand because like, hey, you need to feel immediate consequence for doing that. And so it's kind of what's the therapy that you do with smokers that like you punch them in the face whenever they light a cigarette or something like that? It's not punching them in the face, but something happens like
so I had a bad habit when I was younger, and I put a rubber band around my wrist and would smack myself with it.
Yeah.
Every time I do it.
There's a term for that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember.
But again, it's that. And it's effective. It can be effective. But yeah, like ultimately many people could argue, and I can definitely see the argument that spanking is like violent. Like, I'm not going to say it's not, but the whole point of spanking is it goes back to being a disciplinary action, and you're trying to correct the behavior, but you're doing it in a. Does it go back to motives? I guess in the spanking discipline category, it goes back to your motive of why are you spanking them?
Yeah, intentionality. You could say
Does the intentions? I mean, I'm still pro spanking. How does that fit with this? Don't be violent, but gentle.
Because you're not being violent. Yes, you're using physical discipline, but that's not the same. I think violence really is a lack of self-control at the end of things.
Okay.
It is. It's a lack of self-control because you're allowing your emotions, anger, whatever, to take physical manifestation of your body.
Yeah.
That to me is violent. But but then, I mean, you can't, because there's people who are murderers who are sociopaths. They don't feel anything. So there's no anger involved in anything. So their emotions are not driving their actions, but they're violent, right? Mm-hmm. But there's also no intentionality really good intentionality behind that. Yeah. And I think that's a piece of it too, is what's the desired outcome? Yeah. Is it for good or not? Mm-hmm. Because there's that as well.
I think now is the time to read this part.
Please do.
Practical contrasts. This is also from Bible Hub.
Okay.
I like to cite my sources when I can.
Do it.
Because I don't cite sources often because I don't remember. But I remember.
I try to remember.
I do too.
To the best of my ability.
Okay, so not a striker, which is what this verse is talking about. Not a striker is they react to provocation with calm, uses words to persuade, not fists to compel, and then pursues reconciliation per Matthew 18:15 through 17. I didn't look that up. Can you get that for me?
If your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. But if they will not listen, take one or two others along, so that every matter may be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. If they still refuse to listen, tell it to the church. And if they refuse to listen even to the church, treat them as you would a pagan or a tax collector. Truly, I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven.
Okay, and then so those were the not a striker. Those are the people that are gentle and not violent. Those who are violent and not gentle, they resort to threats or blows, confuses authority with domination, and erodes trust with the congregation and community. So, like, you were talking about the intention behind doing the things, like anything, is if you're trying to dominate the person into following you, that's not leadership.
Right.
That's not being a man.
Right.
Also, when you are violent with somebody, it erodes the trust with them.
Yes, it does.
Like it, and that's even as small as like going back to your family, to your wife or to your son, or daughter. It's if that's just how you resort, or what you resort to is just immediate like spanking or whatever, like this is just how we're going to do it, then it does erode trust. So I'm still pro spanker as long as it is a disciplinary action and not a punishment. Or like if you just whip off the belt and start wailing, there's no correction there.
Yeah.
And you've become a threat to your family.
Yeah. And if you're using those actions, you're just trying to rule over your family.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're called to do. We're not called to rule over them like that and dominate.
No.
In dominance.
Yeah.
We're supposed to love and cherish and nourish and guide and lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not being violent, but being gentle goes back to what we've talked about many, many times. Intentionality, responding versus reacting, being meek, not weak. All of the stuff. Go back and listen to all those other episodes if you want to. We've hashed them out a lot. But that's truly the gist of it, is we could be capable, but we've got to show mercy and restraint.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Standing Like Men podcast. We really appreciate you joining us today and listening to this episode. If you would, we'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe and send us an email at standinglikemen@gmail.com.
Our verse is 1 Corinthians 16, 13, and 14.
Be watchful.
Stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be strong.
Let all that you do be done in love.